down for us. It's NFL Network's analyst, Willie Mcginest. Willie, thank you for being a part of this. We appreciate you being here.
It's fun. How you guys
Is it? Is it? You're sitting next to Rob. Really?
I know.
You're saying that?
I know.
He's all, I can feel the heat coming off his suit. I can feel the heat coming off his suit. He's ready to go.
Fill me in.
Willie, do you think the Patriots need to loosen up their culture?
Nah, not at all. And you know, I like Lane. I think he's a really good player, and I'm happy that they finally won a Super Bowl because they definitely deserved it. But for him to come out and say our culture, it's a fear culture base, makes no sense. He's never been in that locker room or never really shared that culture or understand. I was one of the guys who created that culture in that locker room. And amongst the players, there is a certain amount of pressure that we created because we wanted players to play and be accountable and be a certain way. And a lot of times that locker room ran the team and things didn't really get up to Belichick and to the coaching staff and all that. So, I mean, it's a certain way I think you got to conduct yourself and you got to handle your business and you got to have a certain work ethic. And they adhere to that and they understand that. And there's a certain level that's expected. If you're a free agency or a free agent or you're drafted and you go there, you gotta fall in line because the system and the machine runs a certain way. And if you go in there and you handle your business and you're professional and you do your work, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Like we had a lot of fun while we were there.
So you saying the culture wasn't so much created by Belichick, but the players, the veteran players?
Well, I think it was a little bit of both. I think it started up top with ownership, and then Belichick came in with the type of guys he wanted, the type of players and system and all that. And then the players. He had a foundation of players that was left over from the old regime that he kept. He had captains he met with us, we talked. And it was something that was put in place. And then we held each other accountable. Even guys like Mike Vrabel who came over or Rodney Harrison that came over and young guys like Richard Seymour and Roman Pfeiffer and different guys, Ty Law, we all understood that we needed to play and hold each other and work a certain way. And if you wasn't in line with that, then you was kind of like an outcast amongst the players because we know what we needed to do to play at a certain level and to win football games. And doing work is work always fun? No. But the result is always fun. So, I mean, for guys looking on the outside, they have no clue.
And you say that's what most people get to see. They're not in the locker room. They don't know all the what goes on. So it is how it looks from the outside. And when you look at Bill Belichick, that's what people look at. They see this stoic guy at the press conference going, no, it just looks like he would be no fun to be around. And despite the winning, I get the winning, and winning trumps everything. But I'm talking about, I could see where Lane Johnson could really feel good about the Eagles, what they were able to do, how they beat the evil empire, which is the teams that always win. That's what they usually get dubbed, the evil empire.
The Yankees,
the Yankees are in the same boat.
Celtics, but you can go all the way down.
Exactly.
The line, right.
So I could see where he could look in not being a part of that and make that comparison and say, man, what I just went through with this Eagle team and what it was like and winning a championship was awesome. I would rather have this than have that stone-faced coach stand up there and mumble his interviews.
But isn't that great? Think about it. You're talking about Bill Belichick in his post-conference or when he's up on the podium versus the players and what else is going on. He takes all the attention. Like a lot of that stuff is designed. People don't really understand that. If you're talking about what he's doing at the press conferences, you're not really talking about the players and everything else, or you don't have any bullet material to talk about with the players. You're talking about what his demeanor is on the podium. If that's the worst thing you can talk about, isn't that pretty much a good thing?
I get it. Willie, I get it. I get it. And it's hard for me to just say, we were talking about this, and for me, what we see is everything. Because that's all we know. That's all we have access to. I'm not privileged to be in that locker room. Now, knowing you and knowing that you're going to be honest and you originated that culture and you started all those things and talking to guys like Ty Law and having a relationship with you guys, I get that you guys have fun. But to your point that you just said, you guys raised the standard of accountability so high to where even other guys from the outside looking in look like, well, I don't know if I really want to go there because not just because of what we see in Bill Belichick, but you just said, I mean, it's the players. Don't get me wrong. Every player and every team has to have leaders that hold one another accountable.
Right.
And I think that's what is missing on a lot of the young teams. They push out all their older veterans and they lose that leadership and that accountability. But it is something to be said when you have a young team that can take down or that can do it a different way, that they all are hanging out off the field, on the field, and they're having success and they're enjoying their process and they're enjoying the time that they're having and they're winning. I think that's what Lane Johnson was saying. It doesn't have to be what we see.
There's not only one way to win, which is what people want you to believe, that it's only the way the Patriots.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I want to
that.
say this too. No, I'm just saying, but I think that's where he was
Yes.
going, that there is another way. If you watch the Yankees this year, and I bring them up because they made it to the World Series, but do you remember what they were doing in the dugout after a big play or somebody made a home run? Do you remember? They were doing fake press conference. They made a fake camera, and they were doing this, and
We had
interviewing the play. Now, this is the Yankees, the most storied
Never seen them
franchise.
doing things
You've
like that.
never seen them do that. The Yankees themselves made a judge's chamber for Aaron Judge. The Yankees have never promoted one player.
Exactly.
Never, ever, ever. Because it's always about, we're the Yankees. We don't do that. And that's what I think he was really just about. There's another way. There's a fun way. And the Patriots don't seem fun.
What were some examples? I mean, other than, look, winning is fun. Winning 5 Super Bowls is fun. But what were some examples of just y'all having fun in the locker room or, that people don't see?
Well, the one thing is, like, I don't know about what locker room you was referring to, but we had camaraderie night every week. And we would go out with different position groups. Like, the linebackers would go out with the D linemen. Sometimes we would go out the O linemen. The DBs would go out. Like, we went out and hung out. We partied all the time. It's fun when you win in football games. We had those dinners. We had those things amongst ourselves. And like I said, in the offseason, one camp, we were covering camp for the NFL Network, and I took a host in there. And we were hanging out, and he was like, man, can you take me in? And I got to, I pat him down to make sure he's not wired. And, I'm joking with him and all those different things. So I take him in there. We work out. He was like, wow, this is really cool. We walk in the locker room. All the guys are in there playing wiffle ball. They're having fun. They're talking. They're hanging with each other. Tom, Gronk, all those different guys. And Belichick comes through the locker room. All the guys make a little whistle. He walks through, starts laughing. They keep playing. And things keep happening. Like, I don't understand, like, the perception. And I know it's because they block out a lot. They ignore a lot of noise. And they want people to think maybe there's a certain way you go about or whatever when it comes to the Patriots. It's not all business. This game has to have fun. And the other thing is, like, you have to think, Belichick has been coaching for a long, long time. The player has changed. He cannot approach and communicate and deal with players like he did with us. I would say we were a little easier because we were a little tougher. You know what I mean? Like, we can handle things a little bit different. Practices were different. They were way harder. Pads and all those different things. So mentally and the way we were conditioned is totally different than the new player. Because of the rules and because of all the things that are in place now, you got to be able to communicate and deal with these younger players a different way and be able to get to them a different way because they don't respond like we did when we came in the league. So you gotta look at him and be like, you know what, that's pretty impressive that he's able to do that.
It is, absolutely. You have to be able to evolve. To your credit, though, I mean, it's great to hear you talk this way because I think that's the issue. We've never heard, in Lane Johnson, obviously, we've never heard a player that's been on the inside come out and say these things that you're saying right now.
Right.
We don't hear that. And all we hear is what we see, and that's Bill Belichick at the podium or Tom Brady at the podium or making sure everything is always in-house, buttoned up. And so when we hear things that are almost out of the ordinary, like we've heard over the course of their run in the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, all these different rumblings and this noise and the chatter, it was different because we had never really heard things like that. But I think guys like yourself, guys like Ty Law, guys like current guys, Patrick Chung, Tom Brady, like if we hear that, more than just it's work. We all know winning takes work. We have to work at what we do in order to be successful. We get that. We get that. but you can have fun too. And I think what you're saying is you guys do, and you did,
We
and
had a
they
great
do.
time.
But we don't.
But the thing is, y'all don't need to see it, right? And there's probably a
What?
benefit in
Thank
y'all
you.
thinking,
Right.
oh, it's all buttoned up and work, and then y'all having fun inside. Like, there's probably you don't need to know what me and my wife do, all right? So, like, it's the same thing there. Nobody, the public doesn't need to see it. They can think one thing about y'all as long as it's different inside.
And what happens when you see the tweets and the players going at each other on social media and all those different things happening in other football organizations? Like even this year, you see superstars getting at each other on Instagram or the distractions and all those different things. Like that takes away from everything you work all week. You know this, and you guys understand. It's like in the locker room, there's so many divisive things that can happen. And if you got an organization and a staff and players that understand, look, we can fight amongst each other. We can have these grumblings. And somebody wrote an article this year about the Patriots and how it was all falling apart. And this was weeks ago. And what happened? They ended up in the Super Bowl.
I got to cut you off, but we're going to have you a little bit later, right? To continue this?
Yes,
Okay,
you
good.
are.
Get some breakfast
We
in
can
the
do this
room.
all morning.
Like it. We'll be back later in the show. UFC fighter Jeremy Stephens joins us next to discuss his big fight next week. Keep it right here.